Mark Cotton. I'm based in Nelson, the top of the South Island of New Zealand.
Oh, this guy's smoking me! Great fish. Well over 20 that one, mate.
I work here at Big Blue Dive and Fish, a little locally owned fishing and dive shop. It opened in 1996 and I've been working here since 1998 on and off as a dive instructor and retail manager. In the early 2000s we were running a lot of fishing trips and dive courses out in different boats over the years. We were also doing a lot of shark diving, so through the shop we had a lot of different types of boats. Over the last maybe 8 years, the dive trips and the fishing trips sort of stopped due to the weather over the summer months and just a decline in people wanting to do the dive trips and the fishing trips. So we've stopped doing a lot of those trips now, and it's all primarily personal trips. So we mainly target snapper. Snapper's got to be probably my favourite sort of fish to target, especially trying to catch those big challenging fish over 20 pounds. We also love targeting the grey ghosts, the groper, and also yellowtail kingfish. We've had a pretty good run on some serious sized fish over the last few years.
How's that for a kingy on a stick bait?
Also the ghost tuna. Last year we had an epic season with ghost tuna. For many years we tried to target them, but just never had any luck with them.
Tuna! Get the net, get the net, get the net, get the net. We've done it! Yeah! Ghost tuna! Woo! We've been trying for years to catch one of these.
Also we've started to target more table fish, so cod and gurnard, which is something different from what we normally target, because we're usually chasing the bigger style fish. I was pretty lucky that my family had a batch, one of the first 4 batches in Duncan Bay in the Marlborough Sounds. So I was really lucky that I grew up on the ocean or in different style boats, from the early days of having Cresta crafts and other style fiberglass boats to the later years getting into aluminium boats. And through the dive shop here, just a number of different boats that we use for our charter trips and fishing trips and shark diving trips. So over the last sort of 20, 30 sort of odd years, we've been in a number of different boats and different types of boats. Over the last, I guess, 18 years, I've had 3 different aluminium boats. I'm not actually sure if I'm allowed to say about these other aluminium boats that I've owned. Some of them have been good and some are bad. My last one was Double Tap, which was a 7-metre homemade pontoon boat. It was quite a cool boat, but it just wasn't really me. Did a lot of work on it and sold it on. That was running a Yamaha 152 smoke on the back, and that motor was unbelievable. That Yamaha had done 3,500 hours when we sold it, and I think the motor just was running better and better and better. I was also running a 12-inch Garmin sounder in it, which wasn't really me either. I didn't really like the Garmin electronics. Found it to be pretty standard, to be fair. So I sold that boat on, and then sort of was in limbo for a while, and had a customer come into the shop, Daniel Monopoly, a few years back, and he came in and he said he's buying a boat. So I was quite interested, and I said, "Oh, what sort of boat are you buying?" And he said, "Oh, I'm getting a Senator 650. And I didn't think much of it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that'll be a pretty cool boat." So he brought it in one day, rocked up to the shop, and me and Mario came out of the shop and just checked out the boat and thought, "Oh, yeah, look pretty cool." But Dan said to me, "Oh, listen, I don't have much experience boating and that or fishing, so do you want to come out fishing with me?" So sort of from that day forward, me and Dan's become one of my best mates, and I was quite lucky that Before that, prior to my boat, I had a year with Dan, and in that year me and Dan clocked up 250 hours with his 650 Senator. So after I had a year on that boat, I just, I fell in love with the Senator. It was everything I ever wanted in a fishing and diving boat. So basically, I went down to see Andrew and David at Haven Pleasure Boats in Tahuna Nui. I spoke with Andrew, and I sort of did everything that I didn't like on Dan's boat, I modified onto mine. So I went and had a chat with Andrew, and Andrew was an absolute legend with designing the boats. There was a lot of things he changed in the boat that you don't see in other Senators around New Zealand. So going over the bill with Andrew, I just talked about all the different stuff I wanted from Dan's boat. Andrew here in Nelson is a pure master with, like the rocket launchers you'll see in the Nelson sort of area boats or bought through Havens. They're all shorter, and they're also at the back of the roof, so they're actually more easily accessible, where a lot of other ones you see around the country, they're actually right on top of the hard top, and they're taller, so they're not actually accessible to reach. So Andrew changed that on mine so they're more accessible. So a few months later, my Senator 650 turned up, and Andrew and Dave started kitting it up, getting it ready for the motor. I went with, of course, Yamaha. I'd never not buy Yamaha. They've been in our family for many years. We've had lots of other motors that just haven't cut the mustard, and with your last motor doing 3,500 hours flawlessly, why would you even get another brand motor? So the Yamaha was just their only option in my eyes to get on the back. We upsized it to a 225, which is the 4.2 litre V6. Fuel capacity on the boat is 225 litres. The motor capped out is 44 knots, so it absolutely flies. We generally run about 22 knots at the best economy. The sign crew did the vinyl wrap on the boat. They did carbon fibre down the sides. Then on the top they did blue metallic. Electronics with Dan's boat, he had Lowrance 12-inch, and the Lowrance are a good unit, but once I started looking into it, I found the Simrad units to be far superior, quicker, clearer display. I got Andrew to mount a 16-inch NSS Evo 2 into the dash, then up on top of the dash on a bracket, I got Andrew to mount a 12-inch NSS Evo 2. I'm running a 265 transducer with Simrad 3D structure scan, and also a 4G Simrad radar, which I find unbelievable in rainy or dark conditions, just trying to navigate back to our mooring for the night. Problems with boats in the past, I've never had adequate lighting, just for sort of all-round use. So on Defiant, I've got a LED strip light under the hard top at the back as the deck light, and that gives you full ambient white light, and that's on its own independent switch. And then I wanted a bit of lighting that wasn't really intrusive to your eyes or really powerful, so I got red LED strips down each gunnel that would just give you a bit of ambient light in the evenings when you sort of don't want that really bright, powerful white light. And also a major issue for me was trying to cut bait and use the bait board at night, because the deck lights would block you out or shadow out the bait board. So on an independent switch, I've got a red LED strip along the bait board as well. Also got blue underwater lights at the back, and also blue lights in the live bait well. Inside Defiant in the cabin, I've got on the hard top inside, I've got a white light which also switches over to a red light, and it can dim white 4 colours and dim the red 4 colours, so you can have it as bright as you want in red or white. The one thing I always wanted in a boat is an epic sound system. A lot of these runs we're doing are a 2-hour run to our fishing spots, so having crystal clear music was a major thing for me. So I'm running a Fusion stereo system with 4 polyplanar 200 watt speakers. I sent them up to the factory, came up with design to get them mounted on the roof. So instead of the side of the boat like most boats have, I got a Senator to make up some custom boxes to mount them on the roof, both inside and outside. The other major thing I got done was I didn't want a live bait well that protruded out or was under the bait board. I've had them under the bait board in the past and they just are a nightmare because you got to lift up the bait board, move your knives and all that sort of carry on. So I came up with a live bait design and talked that through with Andrew. Andrew then sent it through to Senator. Senator said no worries, came up with a design, so I went to the trans and mount live bait well, and that's a 65 litre live bait well in the back transom. 120 litre underfloor storage that goes in under the cabin. Also running fold down bunks at the front of the boat so we can fold down, put a swab in there, and we've got 2 full length bunks for overnight trips. I wanted a really powerful deck hose, something that you could just wash off all the scourge, the scum off the boat, but most deck washers don't have enough power, so I'm running an 18 litre a minute deck wash. So one of the major things I love about the Senator boats is the gunnels. So Senator's got dual gunnels. Now I talked to Andrew about this and I wanted more room in the bottom gunnels so I could fit the 15 litre steel tanks that we generally use for our cray diving. So you can fit 3 steel tanks, 15 litres down each side of the gunnels, and also on the top gunnels then you can put all your fishing gear, gaffs, bits and pieces, whatever. The other major thing I love about Senators is their deck space. They have so much deck space, and on the 650 it's massive. So under my bait board I've got a 185 litre Icy-Tech, and then also up the side is a seat and a food storage bin. I've got a 135 litre Icy-Tech. So on Defiant I'm running carpet on the deck. I'm using a New Zealand made carpet called Wide Track, and it's from a company called Ortex. I just found it so much more comfortable on the boat and in the last 3 boats over the last 18 years. Easier to clean, it's a lot softer on your feet, it just makes it a lot more comfier on the boat. And quiet too, it just muffles any sound, so it just makes it a little bit more stealthier for snapper fishing. The other thing I didn't like about Dan's was the single door, purely because it was a bit narrower, and generally we're fishing in and reversing up a lot like groper fishing and all that sort of carry on, so I'm always on the helm. So I wanted a bit more room and more access to get in and out of Defiant, to get in and out of the cabin. So Andrew talked it through with me and just came up with why don't I get 2 single doors that just fold out each side to give me more access in and out of Defiant. Defiant's got 24 rod holders, 9 on the rocket launcher, 5 on the bait board and 8 on the gunnels. It's also got 2 more either side just under the rocket launcher that I use for my gaff and I use for the net. So that's Defiant, my 650 Senator. 3 years on in Defiant and I cannot fault the 650 Senator. It's by far the best boat I've ever owned and just could not be happier. But working with Senator and Havens at the moment, something bigger and meaner could be coming.